Welcome back to the Julian J. Franco Show. It is Julian, and I just want to wish you a happy 2020. Today is a really special day for me and for so many countless individuals out there. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and because of it, one piece of good news is I had the day off, which is incredible, and it's very surface level, and it's not my favorite day just because of that. It's my favorite day because Martin Luther King just reminds me of what it means to be a real man. And it doesn't mean if you're not like this that you are a fake man, right? Because what does that even mean? But when I say a real man or a real role model, it just seems that he understood the principles of life, is to commit yourself fully all in to something that you believe. Even if there's countless, thousands of people telling you that you're wrong, you're getting beat up by this, you're getting threatened because of it. That's how strong his will and his discipline was, that he believed in something so much that he put his life on the line each and every day, carrying out his mission. So I just want to say, thank you to Martin Luther King Jr. for all his efforts. And guess what? We are standing on the shoulders of giants, right? The reason why you're able to go into a restaurant where there's white people, black people, and everything in between is because of the work that Martin Luther King, died for. As you know, he was assassinated. And whenever a government assassinates you, you're doing something that cannot be ignored. So, and whenever we mention Martin Luther King, I always want to mention Malcolm X as well, who is somebody who I really admire, simply because of, number one, his tactics, his techniques, but most importantly, just the caliber of character that Malcolm X had and the person who he became, right? It shows you no matter your past, no matter the person you once were, you can change. So, okay. Martin Luther King Jr., thank you. And Malcolm X, thank you. And one thing that I just wanted to, I really wanted to record this episode, one, because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And number two is because I ran across this on one of the podcasts I was listening to earlier today, Tara Brach, and she was just giving a speech. And she said, if you knew you had a year to live, how would you want to live your life that year? What would be important? And when I heard that, I paused it. When you listen to a podcast and something sounds good, you listen and you go, and you just continue, viewing or listening or however you consume it. But this time I actually paused it. And I said, if I knew I had 1 year to live, how would I want to live that year? What would be important to me? And I remember that just earlier that day, I was sweating somebody not getting back to me, right? Not returning my text message. And it got to the point where I was thinking about that and consumed over that, obviously because I wanted a response from that individual. But once I recalled, how important time really is, and if I literally did have a year left to live, would I be focused on that? No, that wouldn't be important to me. What would be important to me is recording a podcast, connecting with you, connecting with my friends, my family, and more importantly, with my purpose, right? This brings it all back to Martin Luther King Jr. He was a man of high purpose, a man of service. And when I say man, if you are not a man and you are a woman, accept it. Put yourself in his shoes. What I am trying to say is that you have it within you. Whatever it is that you think that you do better than the next person, or the thing that you enjoy doing the most, how can you be of more service? And that's just something I want to leave you with. How can you be of more service? And also, if you had 1 year to live, how would you go about implementing that service, right? What would you be doing every day? who would you be hanging out with? What would they be showing you, those people that you're around? And I just think that all too often we take this life so passively. And we have people like Martin Luther King that literally seen it all, had his, church bombings and lynchings and death threats, but they still wake up. They still carry on. They still have a good attitude. They still treat others with respect. So what excuse do we have when we're quote unquote stressed out to be short with people, or to be impatient with people, or to not be kind to other people? I don't really think we have an excuse, or anything warrants that type of behavior. So remember, with all these podcasts, it's literally me teaching myself while I have a conversation with you. If you knew you had a year to live, how would you want to live your life that year? What would be important? Ponder on that. Think about that. Thank you so much for listening today and joining me. I hope you enjoyed this special episode, very spontaneous. And my goal from now on is one podcast a week. If you get more than that, that is of course a bonus. And I have a lot of cool people that I want to sit and talk with, and a lot of messages that I would like to share with you. So it's going to be a really good year for podcasts. Look at that. January 20th is the first podcast that I get out in the year 2020. Sometimes it doesn't have to be right away, right? Better late than never. Always remember that. It's never too late, right? If you're thinking about it and you can, then you must. I think Tony Robbins said something like that. He's the man too. All right. Take care.